It's called vEmpire.
And they are the largest decentralized metaverse investment organization in the world.
Hello, everybody, and what a lovely day it is. Let you kick off, and I'll do some button tapping in the background. You know what comes after Roby and Qcoin? When Binance. Hello, everybody. I hope you can see I've got a shiny new webcam finally, and I hope that my shiny new microphone you can see in the bottom left there is working fine. Today we've got someone who the community will be quite familiar with if you have been following us for a while. It's Alex from Arabian Camels and the Antara universe, who we're partnered with and will be doing their game as well. So let's bring him in. There we go. Nice camel. A very
I was gonna wear the VEMP one, but couldn't find it.
Fair enough. I'm not sure if it's just me. Maybe it's just the sound on mine, but the mic's quite quiet coming from yourself. Let's see if how does it sound to those who are in the comments section? Give us a thumbs up if the audio is fine for you. Ooh, we got an afternoon. How's the audio, guys? Just waiting for the comments to filter in. There we go. We got a thumbs up. We're all good.
Cool. I can hear you loud and clear. A little bit crackly, but all good.
New bloody microphone. Oh well. I'll sort it out. First test run. I'm just glad that you can see and hear me enough. How is things?
All good. All good. You know, with the space, you think you know, next couple of weeks or next month, you're going to be able to just sort of like catch your breath, take a deep breath. But
no way.
Yeah. Alas, the show goes on.
It's been super busy. I've been the same. Like even today, just trying to get everything done. Hence why I'm a little bit late.
Hence why no camera on my side, because I slept at maybe 7 a.m. So I'm afraid the camel is the best I can do today.
Crikey. So your wife lets you get away with more than my fiance, evidently. Maybe it's because my wedding's in a couple of months' time. To those who don't know, me and Alex do know each other we've actually met in the physical world. Can you believe it? In crypto, two people actually sitting down together. But yeah, just so people don't think that this is how I introduce strangers. But yeah, I think you live West End of London, don't you?
I'm in London, yeah, and many years now in London.
See, I couldn't do that. I'm a country boy, even though I never actually get a chance to bloody leave. I swear to God, I live in this cave. Like, getting a new microphone is the most it's changed in about 2 years. But let's jump right in. Get some questions. I wasn't sure on the format, because obviously there's a lot that we are working on together that the community may know. So I think it'd be good to maybe focus on what some of the Empire's listeners in particular may not be aware of on the actual sort of movie side and the NFT side, and then potentially we can discuss any updates with the game as and when we get towards the end of that, if that sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice one. Do you want to give like an overview of the Antara universe? You know, what's happened so far, what's coming up?
Yeah, so the Antara universe is very much embedded in sort of like a Star Wars, Star Trek philosophy, or like, you know, there's certain IPs that sort of go on for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years and on and on. And Antara is a true story of, he's like the Alexander the Great of the Middle East, and his story is also the Romeo and Juliet of the Middle East. But just in terms of an IP that we can do movies, graphic novels, comics, series, sequels, games, merchandise, toys, licensing, we had a plan for quite an active ride, both in the NFT, movie, the whole sort of transmedia space. Obviously on the gaming side, we're doing something along those lines, and then on the movie, we've got an Antara movie NFT where people can essentially get access to own part of the IP of the actual movie. And as you know, movies can stream for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years and beyond. I mean, Troy, I think 20 years later, it's still streaming and making money. So, and that's just a one-off epic. So we're quite bullish on this project. Very bullish.
Film free, you call it, don't you?
Yeah, it's the new movement that's starting now, and it's interesting because we dropped the Arabian Camels just after Bored Apes last year, and we got off to a flying start, and it was the first ever NFT that I heard of where you sort of get utility with a movie and get like experience of being in a movie or getting a part or producer credits and things like that. And as time went on, I saw where the NFT space is going, and I thought, you know what, the NFT space is built for situations like this, like a multi-dimensional IPO, a multi-dimensional stock market where it's both an IPO, but it's also experiential. It's multi-dimensional in the sense that you buy 2, 3 things within an NFT with the option to get 6, 7, 8 other things, and it's just a big, colorful world. I think the uses of NFTs are way, way, way more than people are. I don't think they've still caught on to the real grandeur behind the NFT space. So exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I say that often, that the use case of NFT blockchain in particular hasn't yet been comprehended in terms of the distributed ledger technology, sort of the transparency of it. When, funnily enough, obviously, you talk to people in I was going to say in the real world, but in the non-crypto world, they think it is all about being sort of opaque and not transparent, when in fact it is the very opposite. But NFTs, I see them as holding the same value as why do people collect stamps? It's exactly the same thing, except you can fake those. You can fake anything. This is recorded on the blockchain forever as your own, and you can build in everything that you've just mentioned there about IPs and everything like that. Speaking on the sort of IP and the attachment to the ongoing, I know that you don't like the terms, but Gen 2 camels, would you like to just chat a little bit about the difference between the OG collection that came out around Bored Apes and the new raise, which is ongoing at present?
Yeah, so this is just sort of a name that caught on with the Gen 1 and the Gen 2 because as you can see, the image in my avatar here is like it's like an upgraded camel, not to take away from the limelight of the OG camels, which are classic. I think they're going to be a cult classic, but yeah, people just started calling them Gen 2 or Arabian Camels 2.0, and sometimes the crowd wins, so but it is the Antara movie NFT because people think, what's the difference between the Arabian Camels and the new one? And quite simply, the difference is the first collection is going to be used in the play to earn game, and with an associated token launch and things like that. And it does have utility in terms of still being able to get involvement in the movie, in terms of getting to come on set or getting a part in the movie and things like that. But the Antara movie NFT, the image of which is still a camel, the upgraded camel, the differentiating factor is the IP of the movie, getting to own part of the IP of the movie via this NFT. And owning the IP of the movie puts you in the firing line for box office and streaming revenues. So hence the price difference. And these are 1 ETH. And initially when we came out with this, people thought, whoa, 1 ETH is expensive. And the way the market is going, the way the NFT space is going, and the way things are getting a lot more intelligent and integrated with DeFi, and people are coming in from sort of real estate, shipping, all these different industries and entering into the space, I think drops are going to be 5 ETH, 10 ETH, 15 ETH, because they're going to get a lot more sophisticated than the projects we saw last year, which were 0.03, 0.04. Most of the projects were sort of inflated by hype alone. So yeah, the Antara movie NFT is 1 ETH, and it gets you, to be able to own part of the IP of the actual movie itself. And you know, the best description or the best analogy I can give is, if we were to NFT a Ferrari, it's got an IRL value, if we can call it that. It's like an asset backed value, or you know, it's pegged to value the real world, not just in the digital space pushed by hype, you know. So yeah,
there's a lot more that can be said. See, that's the way that I describe vEmpire. I say that ours, we're not just code. You've actually got assets behind it, which adds that additional layer of protection. Is there any time limits on the IP, as in that holders should be aware of?
yeah. So we put it at 3 to 5 years. Why? Because we do not know how the market is going to change. Because we can always extend things. This is number one, and two, like this NFT space has caused I wouldn't say a frenzy, but it's really jolted the IP world, and it's going to push legal sort of the legal subject on the whole subject of IP, especially with respect to NFTs. And I think there'll be changes, and there'll be a lot of you know, people taking a view upon things a lot differently as we enter this NFT space, because IP, I think, is going to be a huge factor. IP of music, IP of movies, and why I'm bullish upon movie NFTs or series or TV or entertainment NFTs in particular is, as I said, the IRL value, the asset back value, and the multi-dimensional value. Like with a movie, you can NFT the script, the score, memorabilia, the merchandise, the, you know, everything. So when it comes to IP, we just have to be on the right side of the line to just not overpromise something that might become obsolete in 5 or 10 years, or some regulation might kick in that says, you know, you can't do this or that. So it's wise to be wise.
Yeah, God, lawyers, eh? But yeah, that's one thing. So, am I going to get a cameo in this, or the full part in this movie? You reckon I can do it?
Well, yeah, you've got it. You've got a camel. So yeah, there's 20 special. I know, yeah. There's a special. There's 20 camels, which are. This is the Antara movie NFT, by the way. There's 20 of them that are unrevealed, obviously, at this stage. But on the baseball cap, it says, "I got the part." So if you mint one of those, then you've got a part in the movie. And if you don't want to act, or you're shy, or you're not into it, or whatever, you can either sell it, because I'm pretty sure there's people who will pay good dollar to be in a movie, or you can give it to your brother, your sister, your cousin, or what have you. And it's just again, it's back to the experiential factor of like the whole space. And you know, our community can do interviews on Twitch or auditions, and we can all watch and have a laugh, and you know, you can be one of them. So
yeah, I act cocky now, like I want it the part, but then bloody hell, if you stick a camera on me and display it all over for everyone to take a look at me trying to act, that's another question. That's one thing I was going to say, actually. What happens if, because obviously a part is quite disingenuous, are you guaranteeing any lines, or is it literally, because obviously you know, you've got to make a movie at the end of the day. What you don't want is a bunch of like 20 randomers who think they can act, who are god awful in the movie, taking up speaking roles. So
yeah,
is it it's a part, but I take it it's not you know, you're not guaranteeing that they're going to be a main character or speaking roles, etc.
Oh, 100%, definitely not one of the main six, unless we get somebody in our community like I don't know, Israel Adesanya or Brad Pitt or something like that. We'll have to talk, but I mean, the whole idea is according to people's capabilities, because we do have actors and actresses in our community. We've got cinematographers, photographers who've joined because of the narrative of what we're doing to democratize and decentralize the movie business. It's actually piqued a lot of interest of a lot of people, obviously, who work in that industry, who understand more than other people what we're doing for the Hollywood industry. This is like a complete game changer, where 5, 10, 15,000 people can come together, finance, produce a movie together, own it together, without being dictated to by Hollywood, who says things like, "Oh, we only want the divorce category for the next 6 months," or "No, you have to have this or that." And sometimes you just want to make a damn movie, you know, and without just for what it is. So, pardon my French. So, but by all means, if there is somebody who's got the acting capabilities, it would be great to be able to give them a leg up. Like, for example, we gave this score over to Hans Zimmer about 8 months ago, And then we met another person through Clubhouse, funnily enough, and he sent in a proposal, and it literally blew my socks off. And the guy's only 36, phenomenal talent, like incredible. And this is the beauty of Web3, where people can come in and do things without having to have a name, so to speak. And that's not to say they don't have credibility or talent. It means you don't have to play the game in Hollywood. You can just come into a space based on your talent and your capability, and that's what Web3 is all about.
Nice. Makes me want to do a cheer. You go. So speaking of sort of people actually acting, can you tell us anything yet about cast and production?
Yeah, so we've been very careful and decided to not play the name game and name dropping. We do have a distributor. We're at term stage now with one of the biggest independent distributors in the US. It's for 1,500 screens, theatrical, North America, with $15 to $20 million P&A. They've also asked us to lower our budget from 50 million to 30 million, which we're quite happy to do. The first budget we had was 45, and that was with Jared Butler taking a lot of cream off the top that we had sort of provisioned for. But one of the producers didn't want, it's not that he didn't want, he didn't think it would be appropriate for Jared Butler to play an Arab, just because of how eggshelly Hollywood has become in terms of like cultural appropriation. And I mean, me personally, I think that's nonsense. I think it's nonsense in the politest manner. As in, Sean Connery played a phenomenal part as a Moroccan warrior, the Wind and the Lion, him versus Teddy Roosevelt in the war, and an awesome part, but I think Hollywood's getting a little bit too, it's like walking on eggshells. This is not for Antara, by the way. This is for Antara's dad. So, but we're waiting until we do 3,000 mints before we say any names.
Fair enough. My brother has just popped into the comments saying Israel Adesanya in Antara would be fire emoji.
Well, I slipped his name by accident. He's not confirmed, but he's one of the ones we were looking at for a few things. Yeah, we've got another MMA fighter who's joined the community as well, pretty big. And we did actually, now that it's inconclusive, we did speak to Khabib as well, because Antara is, like, as I said, he's the under the grid in the Middle East. Khabib Nurmagomedov, yeah, we were speaking with his the guy who beat Conor McGregor, yeah.
No, but his the mini one. Have you ever seen Mini Khabib Hasbulla?
Oh, no, yeah, I have. Yeah, you know what? That's a good shout.
You would love it.
Well,
that would literally sell tickets like that. Get Hasbulla as like did you ever watch episode 2 of Star Wars where Yoda fights with a lightsaber for the first time? It's against Count. It's not. I don't know whether it's Count. Is it Count Dooku? Is that his name? Anyway, he's got like a curled lightsaber at the end, and Yoda just pops in like with a little stick, and then just starts going mental, flipping around, and just do that, but with Hasbulla in Antara with a sword.
Hang on, I'm making notes.
Yeah, 30 million back, like that.
No, what we had was we approached the manager of Khabib, because we thought, imagine a situation where you have Antara, the most ancient warrior of the Middle East, let's say, against the most modern MMA champion. I mean, Bruce Lee did this with Chuck Norris. It was a phenomenal touch. He did it with Chuck Norris. I think it was the Way of Dragon. He fought him in the Colosseum in Rome. And Bruce Lee called up Chuck Norris and he said, I'm going to fight you in this movie and I'm going to kill you. And that's how it's going to be. And, so I thought redoing something like that would be pretty iconic,
But
anyway.
Chuck Norris can't actually die. That's the thing.
Pardon?
Chuck Norris cannot die. He's got a fist in his beard, comes out, punches you in the face.
Of course.
Yeah, I think there we go. We got someone. Be right back. On my way to buy a camel. Speaking of that, VEMP crests can be worn on a camel. Good point, actually. Take a note of that for the game. Speaking of, I can't believe how reasonably priced the camels are at present. I'm saying this as in, think about the fact that I've bought 70 and I'm producing the game, so I know the utility of what they're going to have in the future. And yeah, I think I bought 70.
And just to make the distinguishing, because people always get this wrong, the Arabian Camels are for the game, absolutely, like you said, and the token launch and things like that. The Antara movie NFT, which is minting on our website, is the movie one. So just to make that distinction. And you're spot on with the camels. We're actually, people don't know because most people don't look at it, but we're about 300 from, I think, 320 or something like that from a 2 ETH floor price. And remember the last time when we announced this back in December, when we announced about the movie, and we had 350 or 340 sales within the space of like less than 48 hours on that news alone. Unfortunately, we had the good old paper hands just taking profit. All good. But yeah, we're about 300 and something from a 2 ETH floor price. So once we get our, we've got a little a floor sweeping committee starting in our Discord now, and the steering committee, and so let's see all that.
That used to be my role. I think I did that, knowing the utility of the game that I was going to be making. I think I just went up, picked up everything below a certain amount, literally. But yeah,
you've got a very good one as well. You got one of the baseball cap ones. They are like, I love the baseball. The hats are phenomenal. The things they say is like, definitely they'll be remembered for this particular era where we all started coming out with when moon and where's ETH and sir and all this sort of whatever slangs that started crawling out from this industry.
Mine's got is it a Mecca cap that I got?
I think you got yeah, but you've got a few other ones as well.
Yeah, a few. Yeah, I don't know what all of mine have. You know what I can do actually? I can go on to rarity tools whilst we're on this. Connect up my wallet, and it will. I'll be able to look at exactly what I have and how many I have. Let's go on to Arabian Camels. I better, whilst I'm searching, better make sure that I'm asking someone else. Although I just saw a Discord announcement coming out. So this one is sort of for me, but it's also for you. Staking and the token that will come with the game. So you might just ask me back when. But what can you tell us about that?
The game and the token?
And the staking.
So, and this is the staking of the Antara movie NFT or the Gen 1? Both. But since the answer for the Antara movie NFT is quicker, I'll answer that one first. So the whole philosophy of merging NFTs with DeFi to completely disrupt an industry is if we have an Antara movie NFT, and with the proceeds of this, we're financing a production, the people who own those NFTs can do yield farming and get between 20 to 80% yield on those NFTs, depending on the rarity of their NFT. So if you have one of the rares, you get 80% yield. If you have one of the basic rarities, you still get 20% yield from yield farming. And the whole philosophy of this is, imagine a situation where a Hollywood studio can make $100 million movie financed by NFTs. And before the movie's even produced, the holders have gotten back even, let's say, 50%. I mean, in Web 2 world, that is like nuts. It's completely game changing, both in terms of risk mitigation, in terms of like everything, and obviously only through DeFi. So yeah, so with the Antara with the NFTs, the idea is to offer yield farming where people can make money while the production is taking place. So it alleviates all of the onus on the box office and streaming revenues, but it means that when box office and streaming revenues come, it's all just a big bonus. You know what I mean? And then with the Gen 1 and the game, as you know, we've the token launch and the game should be Q3, maybe before, but Q3 is what it's looking like, and the deposits have been paid. I mean, I know a lot of projects come out and say, yeah, we're going to do a P2E game, and then you say, who's going to make your game? And they're like, I don't know, but we're going to do it. So it's good to know that the deposits have been paid in this game. The brochure and the tokenomics and the whole deck on it, I think tomorrow, right?
Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the deck is going to be in one form. the things it's going to be constantly updated, but I'm hoping. I got some artwork through today actually, that I'll see if I can share with you afterwards anyway, just because I don't want to click something and have it come off. I've got 62 camels found out, and the rarest one I have is the one that you mentioned, number 157, and that's the one with the mecha hat. Just my top rarest.
I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs and a little, not, I don't want to say symbology, but like a few hints and things with the whole camel collection and the Antara movie. Like you've got some of them with the Antara necklace, and things like the black ones are some of the rarest as well. The black camels. Why? Because Antara, I don't know if anybody in the audience is from like Dubai or anywhere in the Middle East, from Morocco to wherever, but the whole idea was that he wanted to marry the daughter of the king. And he was he was born a slave. He got his freedom afterwards. But even when he got his freedom, he tried to marry the king's daughter, and he mocked him and he said, "If you want to marry my daughter, you have to give me 1,000 black camels from the north." He was a famous king, and that's one of the things that made him rise to stardom, because he actually pulled it off, and he came back with. I gave away the end of the movie, but he came back with black camels. So that's why the black camels are actually the rarest in this collection. Most people have no idea why, but there you have it.
Oh. Did you say 10,000 of them?
No, 1,000.
See, 1,000 though. It's not a very rare trait. That wouldn't cut it as an NFT nowadays. You should have said, "Can you bring me back one with laser eyes, please?"
Yeah, or ETH eyes, or baseball caps, or what have you.
Definitely. This is something again. The questions that I'm asking on the game, you'll probably chuck straight back at me. So a few things I've got noted down in the notes, which is the type of game, and also whether the game will be built on a layer 2, such as a Polygon or a BSC, to avoid gas fees.
I'll let you have the latter part.
Yeah, well, the layer 2 question is not necessarily one that needs to be, for those who aren't familiar with blockchain development, you have EVM code language, which is something called Solidity. That's what EVM stands for, Ethereum Virtual Machine. So Polygon and BSC, all they are is copy and paste Ethereum. So it's exactly the same code language. This is good because it means that basically anything you build on ETH, you just copy and paste it and you can move it onto a different chain. So everything as standard will be built on Solidity. So that means that no matter which direction we want to go, it can be BSC, Polygon, or Ethereum. If ETH 2.0 is out, which I've been saying if it's out for about a year, but they seem to be having some progress finally, then hopefully the gas fees will be low enough to launch purely on ETH. But if not, then I know the Polygon team well. We're on BSC ourselves, so that shouldn't be a problem. At the current rate, as you touched on before, we have got the sort of there was a term that the game developers used for it. It's like basically the preparation, so making the art, the designs, and getting everything finalized before they start the actual coding of the intricacies of the game economy and the game function. So it's going to be a almost like a Boom Beach strategy, build a base, is I think the game type that they call it, where you're building, defending, raiding. Raiders and Royals was sort of the work in place title that we had. But yeah, as I say, we've had some of the original art through, and we should hopefully have a deck by the end of the week. But yeah, we've had something that we could have put out a while ago, but wanted to make sure that when we do have it, it is, of really high quality. So fingers crossed it will be decent enough to put out on Friday, but if not, it'll be out in the next sort of week or like 7 working days anyway. So fingers crossed. Is there anything sort of before we wrap up and ask questions from the audience? Do you have any questions for me on the game, Alex?
Yeah, no, I think it's. I'm excited about it. I just wanted to make sure, as we discussed before, that we're doing an intelligent game. We didn't want like a Candy Crush situation. We wanted something with a bit of intelligence and a bit of character, and I think that's exactly what we're building.
My whole plan's ruined. No, it's not. It's got more to it.
Yeah, I mean, just to put it into perspective, Antara came from a raiding world where it was like tribe against tribe, and it's all about the raid at dawn, basically. That was the sort of the creed they lived by, the sort of the code they went by, and there was a saying they said, the raid at dawn, it can make a rich man poor and a poor man rich, and that's actually the opening lines of the movie. Yeah.
Too many spoilers.
I know, yeah.
I can see it now. See, I know about the black camels. I know about the first line. Everything in between. Yeah. Let's go to any comments. So put into the YouTube comment section anything you have to ask. Already one, which is when white paper. So the answer is soon. But let's see. Let me scroll up and see if there was anything along the way that I missed. Arabian Camels for the win. I bought some Arabian Camels Gen 1. Something in Chinese I can't read. If you spell Chuck Norris and Scrabble, you win forever. VEMP crest worn on a camel. Big Boss Dominic. Thank you very much. There was a question that was seriously ? But I don't know the context anymore. I'm very curious what kind of video it is. Does that mean what type of movie, maybe? What's the genre?
You know what? Yeah, it's like Troy Gladiator. So anyone, I would say to just go to our website, arabiancamels.io, and there's a video there on the left. It's like a browny, beigey, sort of sandy, what do you call it? Thumbnail. If you click on it, it's done by Mark Fusco, who was Steven Spielberg's assistant for many, many years. He's one of the guys on our team. And that shows you, it's a sizzle reel to sort of depict what the movie's all about. So it shows the style, the tonality, what it's about. You'll see me there giving a sort of a presentation all about it. And so yeah, we did a little screening of that in Cannes Film Festival last year. We're going to be in Cannes this year again. We're on 3, 4, or maybe 5 stages on panels, all about the future of Hollywood, NFTs. Like what we've done is I do expect it to cause quite big ripples in Hollywood. And the people who are involved behind the production, like one of the producers just financed House of Gucci, the other producer just finished Gerard Butler's movie about 5 weeks ago. So top team, top director, phenomenal sort of package put together. Script all done, schedule, budget, all of our script approved by the Ministry of Culture in Saudi Arabia, where we're going to shoot. Bonding company willing to bond the whole film. Bonding is basically in the movie business, you have it's like an insurance bond. They guarantee the production and they guarantee its completion, which they charge a fee for. And that company has bonded 7,000 movies since 1949. One of the main bonding companies in Europe. So yeah, it'll be like Troy Gladiator. And again, the story is about a black slave who was born in the desert, who grows not only to be the most famous poet in all of Arabic literature and all of Arab history, he goes on to be one of the most respected knights. And what's unique about him is that ancient Arabs had like a huge culture of poetry. It was like some nations have technology, some have engineering, some have whatever. For the Arabs, it was the tongue and poetry. And basically having a strong poet in your corner as a chief, that's your propaganda, it's your chronicle. All of the history is embedded within these poems, and it's all it's a really fascinating history. But anyway, Antara was unique because he was the most celebrated poet, but he was also a warrior and a knight, which is unique. Most people were just poets, and his poetry was translated by a professor of Arabic literature from Cambridge, He's in our other video on our website. He was helping a bit on this production. And somebody says like Rumi, not like Rumi. Rumi is a Islamic poet. Antara lived about 80 years before the Islamic era, so yeah, it was pre-Islamic. So his poetry is not so much religious. His poetry is very like, it's mixed between hardcore desert warrior code about how he fights, how bloodthirsty his sword is, all of that, and then he has this duality with him where he switches and he goes to like the most sophisticated romance. So his poetry is known for a mix of very sophisticated romance combined with like glorification of like the desert ancient warrior code of like the sword, the horse, all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Can he? Does he do iambic pentameter though?
Say it again.
Does he do iambic pentameter though? Do you remember that from Shakespeare?
No, forgive me.
Iambic pentameter is where every line is 10 syllables, I believe, in Shakespeare, or it might be 12. Basically, if you read Romeo and Juliet, when they're speaking in prose, Mercutio and everyone, if you read their lines, every single one is always the exact same amount of syllables.
Wow.
It's called iambic pentameter.
I did not know that at all. I've heard theories though. I've heard theories about Shakespeare. I've heard he was Arab. I heard his name was Sheikh Zubair. That's why.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of theories, mostly about his sexuality though, rather than his heritage. But like Leonardo da Vinci, they get the same.
But if you study in Oxford or Cambridge now, you still study the word. I mean, you still study Antara as a poet. That's what's fascinating about him. He represents like the apex of literary sophistication in the Arab world, which is cool because he was a black slave who completely dominated their whole language and defined the warrior code that all the warriors after him based themselves upon him. You know what I mean? And it's very interesting. It's a very rich sort of. It's not just a when Harry met Sally type of movie, you know.
Yeah, no. I think you've got this thing because now that I've been in a few, we did a clubhouse together. We've done this, and I watched obviously the trailer. It's interesting how you say something so many times in like, because if I know you're like me and you end up speaking about this all the time, that you have like off by heart. You don't even see it as a script, but like a few of the things that you've said, I know I hear them a lot, which is like the Alexander the Great, Romeo Juliet.
Yeah. And I commend my community because some of them are always there to support, and they probably know it as well. Even to the extent we had a VC pitch last week here in Magna Carta House. This is where the whole concept of decentralization started, apparently, and that's where the first agreement was signed. But yeah, it's been taken over by a Chinese investor who bought it. It's an island. It's called Magna Carta Island, and they bought it for like blockchain conferences and events and meetups, and so we had a big VC pitch out there last week, and I did my presentation. Didn't do any preparation whatsoever. And after I finished, people were coming up and saying, "That was incredible. That was amazing. That was a really powerful reason." I'm like, "What?" And I realized, okay, I've just been saying, the same thing for like 6 months. Well, not the same thing, but very similar topics and bullet points. So
literally, it's like I'm just saying, I just jump on and just talk with interviews because you just literally learn it off by heart, don't you? Like you've got the elevator pitch, etc. But yeah, I think we're all wrapped up on the questions front. But yeah, thanks very much for your time. Like you said, you've got the mint currently ongoing on the website. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's probably going to close soon because we have a really interesting way of how we split up this drop because it is one ETH each. But I did that for a number of reasons, not just a number of reasons. But one of them is it does make sense, therefore, to work with different platforms, exchanges, VCs, DAOs, and galleries. We have an art gallery in London who's taken an allocation of about 500, and they've started selling slowly on their side as well. And we have Binance. I've had word that they're happy to list them. We have Cross Hour, who's taken an allocation of about 2,000. They're not yet they've got about 500,000 on their crypto exchange, but they haven't yet done all the sort of migration process to get them all on the NFT marketplace that they're launching and get all that sorted out. And then we have another small gallery in London who's taken an allocation of about 50 to sell. So it's quite cool, because if it was like 0.04, like $200 per NFT, we couldn't have done something like that. And I think where the NFT space is going, with like, it wasn't like last year, like you could just open up a Discord and it fills up in a few weeks or whatever. It's very different now. So we've got to be a little bit unorthodox and creative with how we get things done. So that's what we've done.
100%. Yeah, I think the days of just slinging 10,000 pictures up and just having them sell out within 5 minutes are definitely behind us. Good riddance.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Definitely. Well, yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Camel. See, I'm learning.
Camel. Yeah, you are. Camel.
Yeah. We'll make sure to keep everyone updated, and we'll be sharing it on both Arabian Camels and vEmpire socials as and when we have the deck ready, which fingers crossed will be Friday, but if not, don't win us too hard if it's the week after. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for your time, Alex, and speak to you again next week.
When you start saying camel in your sleep, that's when you know you're a real OG.
Oh God.
Right.
I don't know what my fiance would say about that. Who's Kamal? Oh, there we go.
Funny.
Nice one.
All right,
mate.
all the best. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.